Okay. So this is my second time doing this. Last time I recorded an hour-long video before realizing that my audio settings were very wrong. So this time I'm gonna try and go a bit quicker. I uploaded a song on SoundCloud 2 days ago, and it's called "It Is What It Is," and it got some pretty positive reception. So I asked you guys on Twitter if you guys want to see a project breakdown for this song, and 100% of 6 votes said yes. But anyways, we're gonna go over the song really quickly. I'll show you some of my production techniques and stuff that I do. Holy wow. I cannot record in this household. But I'll show you some of my techniques that I use to make cool stuff, and then yeah, I'll just do it really quickly. So let's start with the intro. My samples here are "It Is What It Is." No, sorry, it's called "What's Up" by Doechii. And then this is "Yes and" by Ariana Grande. So you have this part. Gets used here. That's the same. That's "Yes and." That's the intro of "Yes and." And then this is "What It Is." Yep. So this vocal. Let's start with this vocal. It's got OTT on it firstly and foremostly, and it's got this plugin called Karavi, which makes it sound super messed up. So here's it without Karavi. Here's it with Karavi. Yep. Here's the vocal for "Yes and." The reason it sounds like that is because of this vocoder right here, vocodex. It also has Karavi on it. So here is the original sample without any plugins. And then here is it with Karavi on. Kind of messed up. Here is it with vocodex. So the vocodex gives it like that weird like squishy like transient thing going on there. And then OTT to accentuate that, transient shaper to accentuate that, and then there's also a filter to, intro. And then there's also this ticking clock thing with reverb on it. Yep, and then there's also a bass up here. Basically, I just modulate distortion up until the very end. And so that's how you get that at the very beginning. And then I also have this noise thingy that's basically the same premise, but it's with noise instead. This is just 3 times all set to noise. And then by the end, it's at max volume. It's clipping. It's got saturation. It's got distortion on it. Yeah. So pretty big. And then yeah. So if you'll notice in the very beginning of this song, it's got this like super weird like effect on it. And what this is actually good Hertz lossy, but it doesn't usually sound like this. So what this actually is so this is what lossy normally sounds like. Right? So what I did is, well, first of all, there's reverb, there's a filter, there's all sorts of stuff on this. But what I did is I changed the mode. I changed it to the standard and packet repeat. So what that does is it's just a completely different, it's basically a completely different effect. In the beginning there, it like stretches out the packets, I guess, is what it does. And it makes it sound super funky. Yeah, so that's what that does, and I've got that on the master. It's over the whole track. Yep. Gotta play the tag. And yeah, that's basically the whole intro covered. Okay. Oh my god, I need some water. Hold on. Oh, I covered that in only 5 minutes. Last time it took me 15 minutes, so that's good. Okay, let's go over the drop. Bass. Yup. So the bass here it's this wavetable snailsy things. And it's being vocoded. I got this on an envelope. FM to a sine wave. Here's it without FM. Here's it with the FM. Cool. Compressor, distortion, EQ. I refer to compressor, distortion, EQ as the Holy Trinity. No, that's not true. I don't refer to it as the Holy Trinity. I've never referred to it as the Holy Trinity. But it is the Holy Trinity, in my opinion. You can basically make anything sound good with compressor, distortion, and EQ. Like any bass, for the most part, you can make sound, like, really heavy. This is my holy grail, is how you achieve the Daria core sound, or whatever you call it. And then, so here's the external plugins. Once again, compressor, OTT, distortion, saturation knob, and EQ, free parametric EQ. Boom. Compressor, distortion, EQ, I literally do it twice. Yep. That's the bass. And then one thing I want to talk about is there's also this MIDI out right here. The bass actually goes to this resonator, and the resonator accepts input from the bass. And it also accepts MIDI input from this MIDI out. So this MIDI out is routed to port 0. If we come over to the resonator and we come over here and here, then we find that I have routed the input port to port 0, which is the same port as this MIDI out. Hey, it's Editor Max. So Past Max didn't do a very good job of explaining how the hell a resonator works, so I'm just going to do that right now. Basically, a resonator takes input from whatever signal you send it. Basically, what the resonator does is it just amplifies those particular frequencies that you set. So you can set the notes individually, or you can get the notes from MIDI like how I'm doing here. You can resonate any frequency. Like you can also see here we have a fine pitch, so you can tune it up by sense. And that's basically what a resonator does. Okay, back to the video. So I can show you what the resonator kind of sounds like without the without hearing the bass. It sounds like this. Yep. So you can kind of hear the bass signal coming through, right? Because they're just resonating the frequencies, right? So together with the resonator and the bass, it sounds like this. And it just adds a subtle texture to the bass and makes it really like colorful and interesting. Yep. I have a sub bass as well. It's not, it's a sub bass. It's just there to give some power to the actual bass. But it's just a sine wave with some distortion on it, I'm pretty sure. And probably the Holy Trinity or whatever. Yep. We got chords, which is just a saw and a wavetable, all unison to way up. Bass down, distortion up, compression, distortion, not even any EQ. Yep, that sounds pretty good by itself, actually. Not that great, but yeah, you can hear this. These saws are like really trashy and super noisy. Kind of disgusting. Okay, and then another little trick that you can do if you want to like generate really loud chords, really thick and loud chords, is you take a pad. I stole this one from the Zave sample pack that I got off of Twitter when it was leaked. Sorry, Zave. And yeah, you can just layer it. You can do this however you want. For me, I've repeated the beginning, a part that I like. Sounds like this. Yep, you get the idea. It's the same sample over and over again, and it's chopped up to the same rhythm as the chord stacks up here. Yep, and you can hear it adds like so much like texture and stuff to the chord stacks themselves. It makes them like really wide and like, and for additional effect, you can also like pan them in all different directions. So you can see here the I guess the 5 channels that I have here, and you can see they're all panned in like completely different directions, so it makes it super wide and super thick and like big and stuff. Yep, just like my penis. Yep, and then I have a kick, sidechain, all this entire chord stack, and like actually a lot of the things in this project are linked to this sidechain channel. So they're routing all their input directly to the sidechain channel without even going to the stereo out, and then the sidechain is basically just automating the volume to make space for the kick. So you can hear it actually if I turn everything on. And then with the kick, you can hear how it makes space for the kick. So I don't know why that's there. The sidechain just makes these kicks so much punchier and just so much bigger, and it makes them really hit. Makes them really knock. And then as for everything else, these are just like random fills. I kind of learned this from Least Favorite. She made this remix of, what's it called? Six of Spades? Six of something. Future Max here, again, to stop me from embarrassing myself. It was a remix of Wand of Tens by Tracy Briggs. Wand of Tens. And there's an entire production thread right here. You could go find the tweet yourself. I'll put the link to this tweet in the description of the video. Yep. Bye. And then she made this remix. And then she made a breakdown of the remix, just like a Twitter snippet, and it was really, really good, and it was kind of insane, and it had all these fills, and she was like, yeah, I just made these chords, and then I just kept automating them out, and adding fills and stuff, in between the pockets. So that's basically what I did. Like, I didn't volume automate them out, because that would just take way too much work, and it wouldn't be worth it. But I did leave pockets, like see all this empty space here, that's where the fills are. There's literally nothing there but like fills. These are all samples, like right? And then I even have this like, that's from 31 Sentinel demo pack. Yep, and then everything, all these little fills are basically just samples. This is a virtual riot growl. Probably has some effects on it. I don't know. That's a default tom from the Mode Audio sample pack. There's another virtual riot growl right here. Yep. And then, yeah, so that's like the main gist of it. Let me check the recording time. Oh, 15 minutes. Not bad, not bad, not bad. We're making good time. There's a couple fills that I do want to cover. So I think I'm going to start with this one here. So it's, this sample is also from the Mode Audio sample packs. Somewhere in there. It's like one perks or something. It's that. It's just repeated over and over again. Modulating the pitch a little bit. Add some reverb. You can see wherever it is. Kilohertz reverb. Mix goes up. It's also frequency shifter. That's what gives it the glitchy, like the pitching down sound. For the most part. I mean, it also is being pitched, but not very much. This is most of the stuff. And then I have a panning modulation. Yep, so that's basically what that is. And then I also have these reverse things. This is, I routed all of these chord stacks, this whole thing, I routed this whole entire thing into a bus and put Luxverb on it, resampled it, brought that track out to the playlist, I reversed it, and then I got this. This is something I stole from the Trinite sample pack, and those are just samples from the song Trinite that they put out for free. It's awesome. So that's that. Same sample pack together with the funny thing. Boom. Oh, actually, I guess I'll talk about this one again. I'll edit it out if I have to. This one's kind of interesting. This is the glass break. I threw it in pitch map. I had a vision and it didn't really work out, but I ended up keeping it anyways, and I put this sample from the Trinite sample pack on top of it, and then I put this clap on top of it. This clap is from the Trinity sample pack. I think it's got Lossy on it or something. I have no idea how that clap was made, but it's cool. So that's a fun little like thing. Yup. Oh yeah, I can talk about how I made this thing. So it is the sample from Yes and the intro, but I can't remember what I did to it now. I pitched it with E3 mono, then consolidated the whole track, and then I pitched up by 12 semitones. Yeah, definitely pitched it up by 12 semitones. I think that's what's going on here. And then I chopped it up to match the rhythm. Yeah, that's that. There's also a tape stop here at the end. That's just this tape stop plugin that you can like use. And essentially what it does is when you hit the button, it stops the tape. Stop the tape again, stop the tape again. Fun plugin to play with. Yep, this section is fun, but it's not really that interesting. Yeah, not a big deal. I just put a ladder filter over everything. It's right here. You can see automate up. Yeah, I use different kicks here, so it's not actually the same kick. I made like a stompy kick out of this acoustic kick, this punchy kick. I'm not sure what this is from. I think it might be Mode Audio sample actually, and then this Jersey Club kick that everybody knows. And I put them together in the same rhythm. Yep, and then there's a clap on top. That's a Cymatics clap is what that is. Oh yeah, this part is really dense actually in terms of like production stuff. It doesn't look dense, but it kind of is. First of all, we start with these chops. These vocal chops. They're kind of processed the same as the original, like what it is, vocals. Oh, this one is way more heavily processed. So it's got OTT, Caravi, Soundgoodizer, Serum, Hyper, and Dimension. There's a wave shaper on it to make it louder, and then EQ to get rid of the bass. Whoa, yeah. I don't think they even have any pitch adjustment. There just was stuff there, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I'm automating up the dimension here. I also have this fill. I don't think I got any comments that noticed this, but there is a fill here that sounds like the Home Switcher one, but it isn't. It's a schnoz fill called kinda like the Home Switcher one, because it is very similar to the Home Switcher one. But I don't think... I never heard anything about that, but it is there. Oh, I didn't even talk about this section. Wait, I didn't talk about the bass in this section. I forgot. Yeah, this is a different bass. Wow, I'm so disorganized. This is this wavetable. That's FM'd to this saw wave with 3 voices on it. wavetable modulation, some harmonic stretch a little bit. The position in the FM is modulated by this macro here. I've got a comb filter as well, with the cutoff modulated by this macro as well. And I can just automate the macro from inside the playlist. And then the usual compressor, distortion, EQ, Holy Trinity. Yeah, it's a Holy Trinity plus an extra distortion. Yep. I also forgot to talk about this bass. So it's this thing right here. So this is like, I guess what you call a laser bass. So the way that you make this basses is you basically just automate the pitch down from really high. You get that laser front. And then what I have here is I have a sine wave and I have a saw. And this saw is 28 semitones higher than the sine wave, which is why I called it 11th bass. It's because the interval between these two is 11 whole tones in the scale. They're actually a third apart. Like if I play, that's like do, re, mi, right? But it's an octave up. So do, re, mi, right? And you can hear that it's an octave up. So that's why I called it 11th bass. The Holy Trinity, as per usual, treble down, Holy Trinity again. There's also a voice transpose, so that gets modulated right in the playlist. I believe that's right here. That's this over here in the advanced tab. That's a universal transpose for the whole synth. Yep, that's that. And then in this part also, there's this lead. It's a saw and a square, unison up. It's got a chorus on it, Holy Trinity, chorus in between the distortion and the EQ, so that you get all that loud stuff, but it's not for the EQ, which is like the tone shaping. Holy Trinity again, Serum FX probably has hyper, it's got hyper and chorus on it. Super wide lead, you got chorus, then hyper, then chorus again on it, as well as double Holy Trinity to make it super loud. So I've got the glide turned on to 0.1 seconds-ish, but I've also got another macro that affects the pitch by 1 semitone. Just gives me more dynamic control of the pitch as well. So I can use both things in tandem. Go away, GeForce Game Driver. And then I have this ARP going in the background. So that's 2 saw waves. This one is actually an octave higher, and it hits first. And then you come over to this one, and it actually hits later. It hits with a delay of 0.004 seconds. So it hits slightly later than this one that's 12 semitones, and that creates like a front, like an RP front. So you get something like a cool little effect. You get that like chiptune sound. And then you've got Holy Trinity. The bass is super turned down because you don't want any of that interfering with anything else. Holy Trinity plus Serum FX, hyper dimension to give it some width. That's that. And the ARP is kind of just there to add texture. It's not like a main thing. It's really just there to add texture. Okay, how am I doing for time? Almost half an hour. That is half an hour shorter than the previous video. So you know what? Doing second take was probably good for me. So we're gonna go into this breakbeat section that's like, so this bass is a respace that I made and it's kind of bad. Sounds like that. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot on the macro, but there really isn't. There are these 2 filter cutoffs, but I didn't end up using them. You can just take them out. That is the wrong note. I was like, that sounds like the wrong note. So what we have here is this macro automates, so it really only automates like 3 things on the 3 different oscillators. On the one hand, you have automating the pitch. So it actually automates the pitch differently on different oscillators. So this one only goes up by 12 semitones, but these 2 go up by 24 semitones. And then we're modulating the wavetable position, so you can see it scrolling, doing its thing. Automates the, actually 4 things. It automates the unison width. So that's where you get the wobbly respace sound from, is when you automate the width. The voices here, they phase cancel each other in the places where they match up. Look up beating, and that's basically what it is it's doing, the frequencies are overlapping, it's creating areas of high amplitude and low amplitude. And that's how you get that wah, 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 wah. And then the macro is also automating the FM so that it gets more distorted. And then I got the Holy Trinity, of course. And then here I tried my best to make it sound decent. I used Lifunk. I used Wave Shaper for some reason. I don't know what I was doing. But yeah, that's the lead in, and then I use this bass again later, but yeah. And then I've got all these samples that do a reverse in. Yeah, you hear how many like samples there are there? These are all impact. So that's kind of insane. Here's a bass, another bass, different bass. It's just a simple synth bass. Saw wave, 2 sine waves. Got a flanger on it for some reason. There's almost no feedback. Otherwise, the Holy Trinity as per usual. OTT, Holy Trinity again. On its own, it sounds like this. Cool. Chords are going off. I've got 3 different pads layered on top of each other. So I've got, here's what one of them sounds like. Here's what another one sounds like. And then here's the last one. Very cool. Together they sound like this. Cool. With the chords they sound like this. With the bass it sounds like this. Cool. Okay, so that's the melodic components of this. Let's talk about the break. Sorry, I should talk about this. That's a clap impact. Sounds like that. Layered it with an actual clap. These are all like just samples. It's not I didn't generate the samples, but I did make my own loop, and then I moved the snare and the kick around. So that's what this is. Here are the cymbals. So pretty meaty cymbals, are pretty thick and meaty, you know what I mean? And then I have this snare that I copied from a schnoz. It's actually a fill. It's not an actual snare, but I used it anyways. Yep, and then I got a kick. It's actually the same kick. It's the same kick because it sounds good, and I didn't need to change it. And it's sidechained to everything, so that's a kick on its own. I chopped it up a little. And then with the pads, the bass, and the chords, with everything together, it's like this. And then I also added another, like, an actual Amen break sample underneath, and it sounds like this. Yeah, I chopped it up, and I made a loop out of it. Oh yeah, and then there's also this top layer, which is a loop from Pack, and I cut out all the kick drum. So that's that. And then all together, there's some other stuff there, but essentially that's it. Oh yeah, there's also this growl that's from the Vandals sample pack. And that ends off with this schnoz glitch, I think. The 11th bass is back. That's basically it. It's like, honestly, this whole part is just pads and a sick breakbeat. I think I just picked the right samples. Yep. And then this ending part, it's this respace from the intro. Automate the cutoff back up. And then I have it play like a melody. And then it's still the same break. I did automate, or not automate, I did cut out some parts of the tube break. Over here towards the end, you can see it kind of disintegrates and some parts get like left out. And it eventually just becomes this tube break. I've also got these pads that come in. I modulated the channel pitch to go with the respace here. I got this glass break sample. Yep, and then that just goes with the break and everything together. Sounds like this. Nelly Ah. That is basically all I have to talk about, honestly. Like, that's so much quicker than last time. It took me like an hour last time. It took me so long. Yeah, an hour and 6 minutes. I am a rambler, dude. Yeah, this time it only took me about 40 minutes-ish. But yeah, that's basically it for this track. It's not... I mean, it did take me a long time to make, but like a lot of the techniques that I use are not really that big of a deal. Like, it's just kind of me. Like, I found out these things by lots of experience. And now I'm imparting my wisdom on you. And, you know, my 2 great pillars of advice are probably Holy Trinity everywhere. Spam the Holy Trinity on everything. As you can see, that is what I have done. And also layer is another big one. Like, I have, when you're going for this, like, huge, like, chordy sound, you want as many layers as you have. So I have, like, if you think about it, these chord stacks, they're like, I have the bass itself, right? I have a sub bass on the bass, so I've already layered the bass. I have the actual chords. I have a resonator on the bass. I have these pads here, the chopped pads. And all together, it all comes together to, like, really fill up that frequency spectrum, you know, kind of obliterate your ears and make the sound really big and wide. Yeah, and when you're doing this kind of layering, always think about what frequencies have yet to be, like, kind of filled. So like the reason I added the resonator in the first place is because I felt the treble wasn't filled. And then these chords made to fill in the mid top area. Sub bass was made to fill in the bottom. And overall everything just works together to make that like huge sound. And then, you know, the fills, you kind of just find spots to put fills in. If you're going to be crazy like me, then use lots of variety. Pick your samples wisely. You want everything to be cohesive, and you want everything to sound like it kind of has a place there, even if it's a little outlandish. Yeah. Anyways, I don't have much else to say. That's how the song was made. It's not that big a deal. I'm working on other music right now, too. There's an empty track in this project file that I gotta get rid of. Go away. If you made it this far, thanks for tuning in and watching along and listening to my praised ramblings about music production and the opinions of a 17-year-old who knows nothing probably and who is probably insane. Yeah, that's how I made this song. Yay! We're done.